So I'm going to ask you your full name.
My full name is Ernest Clifton Thomas.
Okay. And where and when were you born?
Where I was born was in Brinkley, Arkansas, small town in Arkansas, back in 1934. March 28th, in fact, 1934.
Okay. What is your connection to Black Bottom? What is your connection to Black Bottom? How did you end up in the Black Bottom?
Well, when I was 6 years old, my parents moved here, and we moved to Black Bottom.
So from Arkansas?
From Arkansas to Black Bottom.
Okay. Do you know what made them decide to move from Arkansas to Detroit?
No, I don't, because like I said, I was only about 5 or 6 years old, so I don't remember.
Okay. And did you have siblings? Brothers and sisters?
Yes.
How many of you got?
Oh, a bunch. Warren, James, Preston, William, Annie Mae, Willie, Richard, Eddie, Calvin, and Clarence.
Okay. And where are you in that order?
I was the third oldest.
Third oldest. Okay. And so where did you live in Black Bottom? What was your address?
1525 East 4th Street.
Okay. And where did your parents work in the Black Bottom?
My mother never worked. She had 13 children. My father worked at Ford Motor Company, my stepfather.
Okay. And what was the community like? Paint a picture for me of what it was like to live in Black Bottom.
Well, I guess I don't know how to describe that, because see, I was a youngster, and I didn't know any other lifestyle other than Black Bottom, because I came from Arkansas when I was almost a baby.
Right.
So Black Bottom was home to me.
So did you have friends in Black Bottom?
Yes.
So what school did you go to?
I went to Barstow, went to Duffield, and I went to Miller High School.
Okay. And so what were some of the places in Black Bottom that you remember growing up? Some of the places. So I heard that there was like grocery stores and other places. Tell me about some of the places that you saw in Black Bottom growing up.
Well, there were grocery stores, but mainly the grocery stores in my neighborhood were owned by white people, But the restaurants and smaller stores were owned by Black people.
Okay, so tell me about one of your favorite stores that you like to go to.
Was across the street from me. The store was from a Black man, and his name was Mr. Williams. He had a small store directly across the street from me.
What did he sell there?
Say it again.
What did he sell?
Confectionery type stuff, whatever you call that. He didn't sell meats and things like that. He didn't sell that.
So candy
and chips and things of that sort.
What did you like about Mr. Williams? Tell me about him.
Yeah, he was a very nice person. I mean, to be an owner of a store, and I'm sitting down here like a little lost child. I mean, I thought he was a very good man.
That's good. He was kind. What about church? Did you go to church in Black Bottom?
Yes. I went to church in Black Bottom. The church I went to was my grandfather's church, and it was on Shane and Monroe. I think 1492 Shane or something like that, because I was raised up in the church.
Okay, so tell me about that. It was your grandfather's church.
It was my grandfather. My grandfather was one of the first Black preachers in the city, in Black Bottom.
Mm-hmm. What was his name?
Slyvester Patterson.
Mm. And so he started that church. Was it a big church, a small church?
It was maybe a medium-sized church.
But did they have a good choir?
Yes. You're taking me back a long ways now.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to.
Yeah, you're doing it.
So What did you like to do in the church when you went to church? What was your role in the church?
I had no role, just to be there. My parents said, "You better be here, boy," and I just had to be there.
So before you would go to church, was there a ritual? Because I know the day before church, when you prepare for church, tell me about what it was like to get ready to go to church.
We never did anything like that.
No. What'd you wear
What did I wear?
to go to church? Because I know you was sugar sharp.
What I wore was whatever I had. You know, once again, I come from a family of 13. We were very, very poor, very, very, very poor. And so, my clothing came from the Goodwill. Everything I wore came from the Goodwill. Let me just tell you this, because one day, as a young man, I looked and I had holes in the bottom of my shoe. I shouldn't tell you this because it's on camera. But I went to the Goodwill and put on some shoes and walked out the door.
I hear you.
But that's the type of situation that I lived in Black Bottom. We didn't have any money. I never had a nickel in my pocket, ever. Because there was my stepfather trying to raise 13 kids.
Right. So did you feel, was there joy in Black Bottom despite being poor?
I would assume so. I mean, as a kid, I did what kids do, whatever they do. I did that. So, but yes.
Good. How did you first learn that they were going to, how old were you when you learned that they were going to destroy the Black Bottom?
I'm not sure. I think I might have been 16, 17, somewhere in there.
So you were a teenager?
I was a teenager, yes.
So how did you find out about it? What was the rumbling? What was word on the street?
That Black Bottom was going to be demolished, and everybody there had to find somewhere to live.
Okay. And so how did your parents react? I know you were in the house. What was their feeling about it?
I don't know.
And what was your feeling about it?
I probably had no feeling because it was the only thing I really knew, was Black Bottom. At that time, I wasn't aware of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. So, where were you going to move once Black Bottom?
Say that again.
Where did your parents decide they wanted to move?
Well, I wasn't still with my parents when I left Black Bottom. I left Black Bottom maybe 2 years before they did.
Oh, okay. So you left on your own?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you go to when you left Black Bottom?
I went to the west side. It was on Philadelphia near Woodward Avenue, somewhere in there.
Okay. So that was good. So were you married at that point?
No, I wasn't married at that point, but I got married shortly thereafter.
Okay. Well, that's good. And you talked about some of your hardships for your family and your community. Was that everybody was catching it like that in Black Bottom?
Yes. I would say every single person in Black Bottom, in my community, in my area, we're all about the same.
Right. Okay. And what do you think caused these challenges? Because you talked about your stepdad working at Ford, and I know that some people worked at Chrysler. Even though people were working, what do you think made it so hard?
Well, there wasn't a lot of people working back in that day. There were, my stepfather was one of the few black men that had a job in Black Bottom. I mean, there was not a lot of work in Black Bottom. Okay. I mean, there was no work inside of Black Bottom. You worked outside of Black Bottom, but very few men had jobs. No women had jobs. No women were being hired back then, especially no black women.
Right. So what was your transportation? Because I know that some people
walking and catching the bus.
Catching the bus to go downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So when you went downtown from Black Bottom, what did you do downtown? Did you ever go down?
Downtown?
Yeah.
There was one place that black people could go downtown for the most part. And that was a place called Sam Cut Rates. Mm. And that's where black people from the bottom, that's where they went, Sam Cut Rates. We had so-called cut rate prices.
So what did they sell at cut rates?
I think, if I remember correctly, I think they sold clothing. If I remember.
Okay. Wow. How do you think that the experience of Black Bottom being destroyed then impacts it today? Because they're talking about it a lot today.
That's a very difficult question for me to answer because, I've never really thought about that, how it would affect today's Detroiter. That's difficult for me to answer.
Yeah, I understand that. When it was torn down, what did it look like to you? Like did you recognize it after it was gone? When you came back to the area?
No, I used to go back to the area just to look, and it was just devastated.
Yeah. Did you keep in touch with people from Black Bottom after?
Oh yes.
Oh really? So tell me about that.
Well, I mean, coming up, we were friends, and so we remained friends afterwards. We did things together. There was at one point in time there was a Black Bottom festival that was held every year at Barstow School, and I would be there, along with the other people that was from the 4th Street area.
Nice.
But the person that presented this passed away a few years back, so it was no longer done.
Okay, so tell me about your shirt.
My shirt. What do you need to know about my shirt?
Well, I see a lot happening there. I see Duffield big in the middle, Brownson, Barstow, Capron, and Miller.
I went to all 3 of those schools.
You did?
Barstow, Duffield, and Miller High. I didn't finish Miller. I left Miller when I was in the 11th grade. And the reason for that was because of the hard times that I was having in Black Bottom. At 16 and 17 years old, I didn't have a nickel in my pocket. So I couldn't go out on dates. I couldn't do any of that because I had no money.
Well, how do you find a wife that you have for 60 years?
Well, here's what happened. When I left school, I went to join the Army. I said, well, maybe this will work for me. And when I came back out of the Army was when I met her. She lived in Black Bottom. She was born in Black Bottom. I met her, and that was it. Like she said one time, the rest is history.
The rest is history. So what was her name?
Her name was Freddie Johnson Thomas.
Nice. 60 years is a long time to be in love. It is.
Yes.
So they're talking now about giving people reparations, giving people money or doing something to give the area back to people who were put out. Right? What do you think about that? And what would you imagine that could look like?
Well, if they do it, I mean, I've heard a lot of, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and it never gets done in my tiny years here, But if they should do it, I think it would be a good thing for those people that are left that had some connection to Black Bottom. I mean, if you had no connection to Black Bottom, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm.
So if you had a connection, what should they do for them? What should they do for somebody like you?
Well, frankly, I can't answer that question either because I don't think I need anything from them. It might be a mistake to say that. I'm looking over there to see if my kids going to give me an answer. They're not giving me an answer.
They're not giving you a lifeline.
They're not giving me any answers. But I don't, that's another hard question for me.
Yeah. Because Black Bottom is, for right now, 375, that area, that's 375 Lafayette. Mm-hmm. So if they stop that from being a highway, some people talk about putting a museum there, maybe a library, maybe a memorial, or,
That would be good. I mean, because I truly believe that people need to remember Black Bottom and what it represented. I think that we as Black people need to understand that at one point you weren't allowed to live anywhere else in the city of Detroit if you were Black. Mm. Until at some point they began to let you ease out of there after they said, we're going to destroy this place. Well, you had to find some place to go. So when when black people began to move, well, obviously you moved into a white neighborhood. Well, as soon as you moved in a white neighborhood, white people, they left.
Right.
And that's why Detroit is 90% black right now.
So the neighborhood you moved into, is that what happened there when you left Black Bottom and you moved over to the west side? Was that a white neighborhood when you moved in?
It was a white neighborhood, yes. And yes, they began to leave.
And black families came in.
And black families came in, yes.
And so how long did you stay in the west side neighborhood?
Oh, but maybe 2 years before my wife and I got married over there, before we moved back to the east side.
Oh, really? And where did you live on the east side once you moved back?
It's a street called Bewick.
That's funny.
Bewick and Kercheval.
My mother-in-law, who went to Miller, also lived on Bewick.
Oh, yeah?
Clarice Gray. Yeah, 1938, Miller High School. She went there. Yeah. Well, she was born in 1938.
1938?
Yeah, that's when she was born.
That's when my wife was born.
Really? So they might know each other.
They had to.
Yeah, she was born in 1938. So there's some connection. We will definitely talk till we figure it out.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you some questions that I want you to use your imagination for.
Okay.
So if you're going to be remembered, how do you want people to remember you?
Well, if I'm going to be remembered, I'd like to be remembered as a person who came up in very, 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 very hard times. But as I came up, I learned the art of giving to others. And that's what I want to be remembered as, the person who gave back to those who may have had a little bit less than I had. I worked in many, many different community, and I was on the board of a number of community associations, and giving back to the people that, that's how I would like to be remembered.
I love that. Thank you. And what do you think is important for future generations to remember about Black Bottom? What do you think they should know about?
Again, that's a very difficult question for me to answer, because I've never really thought about that. I mean, what the future generations' reflection on Black Bottom would be, because I don't know that a person could really imagine what life was in Black Bottom for a young black person. I don't think. I mean, I can't see how you can imagine that. So, that's a hard question.
Yeah. So I guess if we are writing a history book and we're telling them about it, was it a happy place? Was it? We know that it was a poor place, but it seemed like there was so much community there. There were so many people pulling together to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Well, you had to pull together because there was nowhere else you could go. I mean, back in that day, black people could not go to white restaurants or white hotels or white anything. So you had to pull together. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I mean, you had your own cleaners, you had your own small stores, you had your own black restaurants. Most of the grocery stores back in that day were owned by Italians, most of them, But it was a thing where you had to stick together. I mean, I guess you had no choice.
Do you think that was a good thing? Do you think that was a good thing?
Yes. I do believe it was a good thing because, as I look back, I see, in my opinion, the need for black people to be together, to do things together. I believe that way our consciousness will become totally different than what life was like in Black Bottom or before Black Bottom in the city of Detroit, because it was something else for black people. So
yeah, hard times made us pull together. Maybe hard times now might make us pull together again.
You're absolutely correct. I'm sure it would, because back in the day, you had to be together, and for the most part. As a youngster, you wouldn't let anything come in your neighborhood and change it either.
Right.
If you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about today that you want to share with me? Because this is your story. And when I say these are archives, 200 years from now, when neither of us is here, this is still going to stand. So is there anything else that you want to share with people who might listen to this archive?
Well, I think there might be several things that in my lifetime that I've done, to help other people. And I think that is the most important thing. You see, let me just, how much time we got?
All the time in the world.
Oh, okay. You see, in 1963, I was hired by the city of Detroit as a garbage truck driver. And I stayed in that position for years because I was an outspoken black man. And the administration was all white. And so I could not move up until that point in time when Coleman Young was elected to run this city. And then I got my chances to move up. I was the first black man, first man in Detroit to drive that one-man garbage truck that changed the entire system to save the millions of dollars for the city of Detroit. I was the very first black man to drive that truck. I was also you know that curbside pickup for garbage, I was responsible for that. Over the years, I went through the ranks and I became the first district manager for the DPW, the city of Detroit. At some point, this may not be important, but I think it is important. I was a campaign manager for Kim Worthy. From the black bottom now, remember that. I became the campaign manager for Kim Worthy. I was the first man, the very first man, to be an instructor for Weight Watchers. My wife and I were both instructors for Weight Watchers. We were the first couple to be instructors for Weight Watchers. We produced the first 200-pound weight loss person in Michigan for Weight Watchers in Weight Watchers history. What else do I want to share? Well, this might be last, but it might not be last because it just popped into my head a minute ago. In 2009, I was invited to the White House for Obama's inauguration.
Oh my gosh.
Reason being was because this may be hard to see, but I was the very first person in Detroit to begin campaigning for Obama. The very first person. The way that happened, was I've got a cousin that lives in Chicago, and he and President Obama went to Reverend Rice Church together, so they knew each other. And he called me one day, and he said, "Ernest," he said, "I got somebody I want you to meet." He said, "I want you to tell me what you think about this person." And from there on, it was all over but the shouting. But now, when I first started talking to black people about Obama, they ain't gonna let no black man in the White House. But we got some CDs, and I began to play it for them. And I'm telling you, it changed the whole world. I mean, it just changed everything. Initially, I would ask black people, well, who are you going to vote for in this presidential election? And there was a woman, everybody know her. She was a senator at that time. And that's who they was going to vote for until I produced Obama to them. And it was all over. Those are some of the things I'd like for people to remember that I did for other people. It wasn't for Ernie. It was to help somebody else.
That is an awesome legacy. It is powerful because I think sometimes we forget that it takes people to blaze the trail for us to walk on.
That's right.
And you've done that. And that's powerful.
I would like for people to know that it's not where you came from. It's where you set your mind to go to. That's going to make all the difference in the world. And it made that difference for me. And I helped to make the difference for a lot of other people. That's my story.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I could listen to you talk all day, because that's, man, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else I'm forgetting that I could have asked?
Did you mention your book?
Oh, thank you.
Well, yes, I am an author of a book, and the name of that book is From the Minds of Kings to the Minds of Slaves. It has to do with black people, but it mostly has to do with my experience. And but it really has to do with the black people in America, From the minds of kings to the minds of slaves.
And what inspired you to write that?
The life that I lived. I almost had to write it. I think that I was always a writer. I would write everything down, whatever, And then at some point, I guess I said, put it together where other people could see it.
Yeah.
Initially, I wrote it for my family, so that my family could understand that even though I came from nowhere, that I could do a little something,
I know one thing I forgot to ask you. Did you ever go back to Arkansas? Did you ever visit? Did you have family there?
I've had family there. I've gone back several times. We had family reunions there.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, how do I get my hands on that book?
The book is on Amazon. Is it Amazon, Sherry? I think it's on
So I can
Amazon.
look it up. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Sherry, that I haven't touched on? We talked about the book. We want to make sure that we cover all the bases. You are so fortunate.
I think so as well. 91 years is a long time. I don't know very many people that can say they still have their dad. I'm 66 years old this year, and it's like, here me and my dad still celebrating our birthdays together. It's wonderful. And I thought about it. I just retired in December, and I'm like, here me and my father both collecting Social Security together. Hey.
That's amazing.
How many people could say that?
Yep. And you've got 10 years, both of you have 10 years on me and my dad. So you're 66?
Mm-hmm. Will be in a couple of days.
Yeah. I'm 56 and my dad is 80, he'll be 82 this year. But
Okay.
I'm 81. So same thing, and he's still around. So
That's
something
right.
about men just doing their thing. So I'm really
Right.
I'm really grateful that you took the time.
Well, I'm glad.
Come out.
I'm more grateful that you asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need these stories, and our young people need these stories. They think they have it hard. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this today.
I thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You did awesome.
You did good, girl.
Thank you.